Hey all, it's David Ducker coming back at you, and today we're going to be talking about problem players, the special snowflake. Special snowflake players, I think we've all run into them. I'll start out with a quick definition, and they can be difficult to define, but basically there's someone that's extremely exotic, it's extremely unique, extremely special, and very often they'll also be extremely powerful. They're sometimes called the Mary Sue player. I prefer Special Snowflake because it's more condescending, and if I can condescend to bad players, it makes me a little bit happy at least. Because having them at the table sure don't make me happy the rest of the time. So the Special Snowflake is someone who's going to say, you know, my character is better than your character, and he's different from your character. If you're playing Vampire the Masquerade, he's going to be older generation. If you're playing, you know, Pathfinder, he's going to talk you into starting at a higher level, or starting with a magic weapon, or starting with a template. He's going to be like a half dragon, or half vampire, or half dragon, half vampire, or, you know, something ridiculous like that. I've been thinking about this video for a while. Why are they as bad as they are, and what is the source of the problem there? Because in theory, you can have this special character, this exotic character, and it can be fine. And I've seen it done. Characters that could be called special snowflakes, I've seen them done. But if they're done well, it's not really a problem. And I was thinking the real problem with the special snowflake is that it's all about them. They're trying to get the spotlight. They're trying to steal your scenes, steal the thunder. They're trying to be the main character. You know, much like the power gamer is trying to be better than you mechanically, these guys are trying to be better than you narratively. And also, you know, the lone wolf player, he's trying to steal the spotlight by keeping you're not even in the scene. Whereas the snowflake is not going to split off from you, probably, but he's going to steal the scene even though you're still there. So the real problem is they're not team players. And, you know, I was talking to somebody on the Role Players Anonymous forum. Go check that forum out on Facebook because it's quite excellent. And he was saying how the root problem is they're not team players for all of these guys. So I'll do another video on being a team player. But basically the snowflake, that's his problem. It's all about him. That's the number one problem. The number two problem is he's got so much on his plate that he can't do it all. He's taken this huge portion of food and he's trying to chow down, but he can't get it all in there. So he half eats everything. He doesn't touch one thing, and, you know, it's wasteful. And it's not a definitive, defined meal. You know, so I'll come back. Like the example is, of course, in any one session, you probably get across like 3 things about your character. You know, so my character is an Ifrit, and he's very religious, and he's very friendly. I'll get across these 3 things. So I'll talk to you about Ifrit culture, Ifrit biology. You know, the people of flame, and they only eat fire. I'll talk to you about his God, his religion, and why it's important to him. And I'll be really nice to everyone and friendly, and I'll talk to you, you know, and I'll talk about my friends, and I'll give them credit for everything. So you get these 3 things, and you really, really push them, and you get the idea of what the character looks like. And, you know, push those for like 3 sessions. Then maybe in the 4th session, throw in a 4th element of the character. You find out that he's actually not just friendly, but he's actually political and scheming. And you didn't quite realize it at the time, but a lot of his friendliness is just scheming. or throw in something else, something about maybe his job. He's actually an assassin. You didn't know that, but he is. So maybe, and then you end up with these 5 elements. And if I came out and in session 1 I tried to hit all 5, then it would be harder. He'd be diluted. He'd be spread out. It's harder to put him in that bubble to find who he is. And special snowflakes, they're usually like way more extreme than that. Like they'll have 10 or 15 elements. They're like, oh, I'm this and 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 that and that and that and that. And and it's like you can't explore that character in one session. And so if you have 10 things, maybe you can hit 5 things per session. But I've seen it done a lot where, okay, first session I hit these 5, second session I hit these 5 things, and the other players are like, what? That's a completely different character. And it's like, oh no, it's all part of the same, it's just he's 10 things. And they're like, what? And then, because you haven't established the base to build on, you just spread out, and you spread out so thin that you can't see the whole picture anymore, right? So you have to start out small and then slowly build out and spread out and creep out. And special snowflakes are often not good at this, and that's part of leveling up. That's part of narratively leveling up. And saying, okay, I'm a farmer. I'm the bottom of the feat tree, the skill tree, and but I still have. It's easy to find like 4 or 5 things. Maybe I'm religious. Maybe I'm not religious. Maybe I'm a different race than everyone else. Maybe I have a different sexual orientation. Maybe I have this one skill that nobody else has. It's really easy to find these things and get your character different. And then as you start leveling up, he gets more dynamic. Whereas special snowflakes want to start out really dynamic, and it's really hard to see that character and understand him if he's so dynamic. And where do you go from there? You can't. You're going to take so long to establish yourself, if you can, that you will have trouble building on top of that. If I start out with 3 things, and I can level up and add another thing every 2 or 3 sessions, you start out with 10 things, by the 10th session, we'll both be on, equal footing, because you only have time to elaborate on so many things per session, and with the special snowflake, they're like, oh, don't worry about that. It's all going to be about me anyway. I'm going to steal the spotlight. You won't get any scenes because I'm so interesting. When I'm not there, people will be talking about me. That's what they want, just to steal the spotlight. And that's not cool. And it destroys mystery. You have no mystery about these special snowflakes. They're clearly special. Whereas to me, the big mysteries are when you don't think something's special, and then it is, and you're like, oh, and it's a surprise. I love that. So if I am playing a character who is, this special snowflake, if he is complex and interesting, usually I'll try to disguise them. I'll disguise them as something much more mundane, and then slowly peel back the layers. So, part of this special snowflake can be in your execution. It's like if you take a character and he's got 10 things on him, and you execute it poorly, you're going to be like, oh, he's just a special snowflake. If you execute it well, on paper the character's the same, but you won't be a snowflake. You'll just be a really good role player, because it's slowly revealed over time. Maybe special snowflakes can grow into good players. Maybe that's the desire in some ways, is to make a 3-dimensional, well-rounded character, but they just took it too far. Or maybe, like I said, they're trying to steal the spotlight, and they don't want a power game to get plus 10, so they'll just write in their backstory why they have plus 10 and circumvent the rules like that. But at least they write a backstory. It might be the worst backstory you've ever read, but at least they're going to write one for you. So, take that as you will, a double-edged sword. I've had to deal with special snowflakes. It ain't fun because, they give you the backstory, and it can be really hard and tedious just to read it and then to try to make it work. Try to tell them, okay, this part of your backstory is okay. This part is not okay, though. So let's redefine your backstory. And you do this long series of editing with them. And it can be really, really tedious. So, more than anything else, the snowflake is the player. More than any other player type, they will probably tax your patience if you try to make them work, if you try to help them and fix their broken character concept. And why they're, I'm chosen by the devil and by Jesus Christ to rule the multiverse. I'm the special snowflake. I am all good and all evil, and I'm half angel and half devil. I can cast all spells. When somebody sends you this backstory, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you've got to call them and be like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? This doesn't fit the setting. It doesn't fit the story. It doesn't necessarily fit the party. And then you have to talk them down, and they end up what if I'm only half Aasimar or half Tiefling? No, it's still too much. It's still not okay. I wouldn't allow an Aasimar and a Tiefling in the same party most of the time, because you can only have one exotic thing in a party, or else the party just looks like a bunch of goons, like a goofy, Forgotten Realms novel. So that's my thoughts on the special snowflake, why they do what they do, what they are, how to deal with them. I mean, go back to my video on dealing with any problem player, but these guys will tax your patience. So I'd love to hear if you've gamed with a special snowflake. Tell me about how special they are, how powerful they are at level 1, that they can, this is the guy who wants to play Pun and take over the multiverse at level 1. So tell me about the special snowflakes you've seen. And how did you deal with them? And how do you define them? Because, I've been doing a lot of rambling in this video because I'm not 100% sure. I'm much more likely to boot someone out of the game than to analyze them. You believe that. But I'm going to sign out now. I hope everybody has a good day. And YouTube.